Brandon Johnson. Before we get to Brandon Johnson, I want to share with y'all what's happening with some of these small businesses that have a larger footprint in Chicago in particular.
Yeah, both customers and employees were caught by surprise today. They say they had no warning that the stores were about to close their doors. In fact, take a look at the Foxtrot location here on West Lake in the West Loop. You can see they've already put a padlock on top of the door. In fact, some customers were inside shopping when they were asked to leave.
I literally come here every single day of my life. It's like the best place I could cry. I can't believe it closed with like no warning.
Those stores shut down. The doors locked just before noon today at 15 Foxtrot locations around the Chicago area and 2 Dom's Kitchen and Markets. Customers gathered around the closed doors, taking pictures of the small sign in the window, telling them about the closures and thanking them for their patronage.
They just shut the doors, padlocked the doors. Got stuff all in there. Like it's full of merchandise. They didn't do a 50% off. We're liquidating. We going out of business or none of that. They just said, hey, y'all shopping right now? We about to close the doors. We shutting everything down. We padlocking it all up. They didn't even give a warning. It was people that was in there shopping and it was full of merchandise. The store shelves is full. And then they just they told everybody to get out. They padlocked the doors. They left the lights on. And they got the heck up out of there. All of the locations. Every one of them. That's what's happening to small businesses. AJ says, don't listen to Anton. Don't give 100%, 110% to a job that will replace you in an instant. What? Okay, hold on. Let me pause for a second. I know y'all want my attention. Who told y'all to give 110% to your job? Do y'all just make stuff up because y'all want me to address y'all like the bad kid inside of the classroom? What are you talking about? What I said was when you step out on your own in order to start your own business, it is a kill or be killed mentality. Nobody is going to pay you for not doing a bad job. Nobody's going to put you on a PIP. Either you're going to dedicate yourself and you're going to win or you're not. Now, if you want to be safer, then stay in corporate America where you can get a paycheck, you can get health care coverage, and then you can invest your money and you can still become a millionaire that way. But what are you talking about as far as don't listen to Anton, don't give 100% to a job that will replace you in an instant? What are you talking about? Do y'all misquote people on purpose in order to get attention? You want me to address you? Jesus Christ. Oh my gosh. Listen, do your job, meet expectations, do what you're getting paid for. What does that have to do with giving 110% to your job? I can't, man. Sometimes I can't. Sometimes I'll be trying to figure out, is it a disconnect between the way that I communicate and tell y'all what y'all need to do? Are y'all focused? Do you got your listening ears on?
Now, these closures come just 6 months after the announcement that Dom's and Foxtrot's would merge. The stores are corporately based in Chicago, and Foxtrot had 18 other locations in Washington, D.C., Dallas, and Austin. A statement on the company's website apologizes for any inconvenience, saying they explored many avenues to continue business, but found, quote, no viable options despite good faith and exhaustive efforts. Hundreds of people working at these stores are suddenly unemployed, many of them hugging and crying as they walked out for the final time, including a woman we talked to outside the Dom store on North Wells.
They didn't tell us nothing. They just said we ain't got no job.
It's an unbelievably shoddy way to end. I mean, just shut the doors.
Just devastated. We're really deeply saddened by this. This was a popular location in my ward. I had 4 locations in the 2nd ward, 3 Foxtrots and Doms. And the Doms on Well Street was very popular, crowded all the time. Whatever caused this closure, I can tell you it wasn't lack of customers. People supported them from the grand opening forward.
Alderman Hopkins going on to tell me that there are
What up,
a
Ray
lack
Sean?
of grocery options in the Old Town area along Well Street there. He says they're hoping to
Look
put
at
a
my man.
store up in the old Treasure
Look at my man with the skinny jeans in the background. He said, hey, man, I was coming in here to get some Foxtrot. Check it out.
area along Well Street there. He says they're
Hey,
hoping
what's
to
going
put a
on,
store
buddy?
up in the old Treasure Island soon.
Ah.
In order to bring some more options back to the neighborhood. On the near west side, Dane Placco, Fox 32 Chicago.
So Chicago is losing businesses rapidly. On top of that, they have a crime problem. And more importantly, they just approved more migrant funding to the tune of an additional $70 million. And residents are absolutely pissed about it. I mean, they are angry. And so what they're vowing to do right now, I don't know if it's just these people that's watching the Millionaire Morning Show or what, but what they vowing to do over there in Chicago, they trying to get Brandon Johnson up out of there. Brandon Johnson ain't even been in office for a year. Y'all got at least 3 more years of Brandon Johnson helping y'all to understand that y'all need to focus on the fact that these are just large gatherings and you're not absolutely not under duress when it comes to criminals terrorizing your neighborhood. All right?
The citizens of Chicago have a lot to say after the city council approved an extra $70 million to care for illegal immigrants. The mayor's office says nearly 40,000 of them have arrived in that sanctuary city since August of 2022. Try millions in Texas. Try that out. Well, they are a sanctuary city, Chicago, so what do they expect? They put out the shingle. And tax-paying Chicagoans showed up in force ahead of the city council vote.
The city doesn't feel the same anymore.
Y'all mismanaging this, failing actually.
We need that money in my neighborhood.
$70 million. Y'all won't even put $1 million in one neighborhood.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. That's a crazy number. To know that y'all been funding the migrant crisis to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars a year, that's crazy. Honestly, like, genuinely, that is insane to me. And I mean, when you start to say the numbers, it just seemed like it because we throw these numbers around all the time when we talking about federal budgets and local budgets and state budgets, and it'd be billions and billions of dollars. But let's really put this in perspective. $70 million, and my man said it. He really captured the sentiment. He said, $70 million. Y'all ain't even putting $1 million into this thing over here. Honestly, it really is an interesting number when you think about it.
Y'all won't even put $1 million in one neighborhood.
Vote for the money for these immigrants today, and we coming for them seats.
Yeah. Ooh, they're coming for somebody else's seat, too. Democratic Mayor Brandon Johnson's. Organizers of the recall movement need some 56,000 signatures to get the recall option on the ballot later this year.
They're going to get them.
Fox News political analyst and Chicago native Jono Caldwell. Jono, I did notice some anger in the room, but I also noticed some people with a plan.
Absolutely. And they are doing the right thing by saying we're coming directly for your seats, including you, Mayor Brandon Johnson. As Mayor Brandon Johnson's message, I believe, to Chicagoans have been quite clear. Get on the back of the bus. Now, that's everybody, but especially those black voters who are the reason he's mayor today. Get on the back of the bus. And these voters in Chicago, and I speak to a lot of them pretty regularly, pretty weekly, they're serious about voting for Trump. They're serious about handing the election in Illinois to Donald Trump, as you only need 20% of Cook County, which is within Chicago. That's Cook County, the county that encompasses the suburbs as well. He can win Illinois.
Now, let me also say that I'm not so sure about that, because Illinois for a long time has always been blue. Did I tell you all about what happened to me when I was on my way to Biloxi? Rita liked to laugh at me about this one. So I'm sitting in Mod Pizza. So I did a vlog outside of Mod when I was addressing people or whatever like that. And then I put my vlog down or I put my camera down and I went in there. And there was some people that recognized me or whatever like that. And it was an older gentleman that wind up being on the same plane as me. Yes. An older gentleman, right? Not that much older. Probably about 10 years, 12 years older than me. He was probably about 54, 55 years old. And he was an older guy. He said, "Hey, man, I recognize you." And I said, "Oh, yeah?" I said, "Hey, how you doing?" So I'm always cautious, right? Because I don't know if people recognize me because they don't like what I had to say and they really a hate watcher, or if they agree with me. But he was an older gentleman, so I just assumed that he didn't necessarily agree with me. I said, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" He was like, "Yeah, your name is Anton." And I said, "That's me." I said, "Yeah, I watched you on YouTube a couple times." I was thinking to myself, "Oh, a couple. You probably watching this right now." This is the honest to God truth. And he said his wife walked in shortly after, and he said, And he looked at his wife, and his wife said, "What's up, honey?" And he said, "Trump." Huh. Oh, Rita was laughing. So Rita thought that was so hilarious. He said, His wife said, "What's going on, honey?" He said, "Trump." And I was like, "Oh, man, here we go. Now I'm about to get on a flight." I didn't know at the time that he was going to be on the same flight as me. He was way in the back, though, so it was a little different. I got to get on a flight with this older man. I said, "Oh, who do you usually watch?" "We only really watch." And the wife was looking like, "We?" He said, "We only really watch Roland Martin." I said, "Oh, man, we got us a blackety black over here, Rita." Rita started laughing. I said, "We got us a blackety black." He said, "What is a blackety black?" I said, "So you voting for Biden?" "Ha! That's the only person that I'm voting for." I said, "Oh, okay, interesting." He said, "I don't know why you would even vote for Trump. What has he done for black people?" So you know me. I said, "Well, you did pick the right one today. I'm not really sure if you're familiar with what I do." So, of course, I started going down HBCUs and record amounts more than any other president before, and record unemployment and North American Free Trade Agreement and the tariffs on China. And, I started running the gamut. And so we started getting into a little bit of a debate. And I said, "Listen, I respect your right to vote. I also respect your right to ignorance and following Roland Martin." And everybody looked up because you know me, I'm going to be who I'm going to be regardless. It don't matter where I'm at. If I'm at the airport, I'm right here online. I said, "I respect your right to vote. I also respect your right to be ignorant following Roland Martin." I said, "But here's the thing. You keep telling me about why you voting for Biden because of what you don't like or who you don't like. What exactly are you voting for?" I mean, what's the worst that can happen with going with Biden over Trump? I said, "We see what the worst is can happen. We negotiating closing off our borders." And, I just started going in and, no, see, honey. And then he just did like this. This is what he did. He said, he just put his hand out. I shook his hand, said, "Have a good day. Have a safe flight." Then we wind up getting on the same flight together and all of that other stuff. My point is that I say all that to say I don't believe that Illinois is ever going to turn red. I don't. It don't matter how many facts you hit somebody with. It doesn't matter whether or not they can substantiate their argument. It don't matter if Kamala Harris went over in Chicago and said, "We getting rid of every last job and we going to replace it with migrants." You know what they're going to do? Vote them back in. You know why? Because they're loyal to a party and they're not loyal to a policy. They're loyal to a party and not loyal to a policy. I know this seems like it's a big thing. Oh my God, they're going to get Brandon Johnson up out of there. No, they're not. No, they're not. Brandon Johnson going to be right there. You know why? Because Brandon Johnson is not doing anything different than what he said that he was going to do when you elected him. Brandon Johnson, to his credit, even though I disagree with it, I don't disagree with democracy. Brandon Johnson, to his credit, is not doing anything different than what he said that he was going to do and what his outgoing Beetlejuice partner was doing before him. He's just doing it a lot more fervently, and he's doing it a lot more aggressively, which is exactly what he told y'all that he was going to do when we had a conversation, and I told y'all that this was a bad person for y'all to pick, and it's not going to be best for y'all city in the first place. So, I ain't say what? Anton ain't say it. You know, they always telling me what I didn't say.
Hello?
Yo, what up?
Hey, what's going on?
Do you remember when we went to Mod Pizza inside of the inside of the airport?
Yes.
Why was you laughing so hard?
You talking about when he told his wife or whatever, he was like, Trump. Like we got one or something.
Okay, so let me ask you another question. How aggressive, honest, and be honest to God, like on your mother, on your living mother, how aggressive did the conversation get, and how loud was we arguing?
Like you was on the live stream.
Say it again louder.
Like you were on the live stream.
What did you say to me when I was done about how loud I was and how aggressive we had got?
I don't remember what I said specifically, but I know it was something along the lines of you was a bit loud and aggressive, and that you probably should have toned it down a little bit.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
I said exactly what I said. What you gonna do? Listen, we both went through TSA. It ain't like you got a pistol. You can't do nothing to me. We was waiting on the flight. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? I'ma say what I want to say when I want to say it. I'm not gonna sit here and negotiate with terrorists. Rita was like, yo, Anton, you got to be a little bit more quiet. You can't be that aggressive. I was like, oh, I thought we was having a conversation right now. I was just meeting energy with energy. He shouldn't have pointed at me and said Trump to his wife like that meant something to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, but to get to my original point, because I'm going to say what I want to say when I want to say it. And anybody that's ever met me in person, it's Azriel, it's a whole lot of people in here that had kicked it with me in real life. I am more in real life of what you see online. I am more of what I am in real life than what you see online. And so if you meet me and I got good energy, that's because that's who I am in real. What I have to do online is tone it down. They'll tell you, I jump on top of bars, I make big speeches, I tell the DJ to shut the music down, Anton from Anton Daniels is talking. I'm exactly that. That's exactly what I do in real life. Don't let me get a drink in me. Don't let me get a drink in me.
Now, the problem is for many of the Chicagoans there, they've been destitute for many, many years with services from the city. Since I was a kid, 14 years old, working in politics, people have been asking for help and resources, and they say they didn't have any until now.
Well, they had the resources. They just weren't spending them on you, the citizens. Okay, so you mentioned Trump, and you mentioned blacks in particular taking a look at maybe voting in their own interest. You know, I had lifelong Chicagoan Kata Truss on the Focus back in February. She got a bigger conversation around the nation started about her frustrations in Chicago. Let's revisit.
turn Chicago red. We are so angry with Pritzker and with President Biden and with our mayor that we have decided that we're going to vote Republican this time around. Wow. That's just how angry we are. We are so angry that we are willing and going to turn our backs on the Democratic Party.
So what do you predict will happen? I know they want to unseat people. Will that actually happen? Because typically, as you get closer to voting day, everybody goes back to their silos and they get a few goodies or whatever from Democrats, and they're reminded that black people vote Democrat, and if you don't, you're not really black. President Biden said that. So what do you think will happen?
Well, if just look at the sentiment across the country. In Denver, that was recently asylum-seeking group who said just to give us 6 months worth of rent, food, cash, and all these other things is a slap in our face. For people who never committed a tax dollar ever, it's a slap in their face. But you turn that same mirror on in Chicago, and they see folks in their neighborhoods, places where they used to send their kids so they can be safe, park districts, a number of different entities that have been taken over by the migrant class, and people are upset, and rightfully so. I think we should be watching very closely what's going to happen in the DNC, because that message right there before the election is going to resonate very clear about how Chicagoans are feeling about the Democratic Party, especially bringing the migrants to the city, but many other issues like crime and others.
I don't believe that Chicago personally is ever going to switch over to being red at all. I think that Chicago is as blue and through as California is as a state. I don't think Chicago or Illinois is ever going to flip over to red.